JBL presents Nipper in Blue, 2 pieces.
So I was in the middle of a restoration of these L100s, and I was just going to do the normal, black with the walnut, and pretty much almost they're finished. And all I need to do is put the drivers and the crossover in, and then apply the label and the pegs for the grill, and I would have been done. But the other day I posted a video with the blue 4311Bs, and what I did was I used a stock color from a spray can. It was called Wildflower Blue, and it's made by Rust-Oleum, and I got it from Home Depot. And it occurred to me that a customer called me after a customer called me, wanted to send me his 4311Bs, but wanted to know if I could match the exact JBL color. And I said, of course I can. I would have got those. I would have got that paint, matched a long time ago, but I really don't do a lot of blue. I think I've done maybe 2 or 3 total. So after talking to him, and he's going to be sending his speakers from Houston up here to the Chicago area this weekend, I went and got the paint mixed, and it came out exact. This is the JBL color that you see on all the old vintage JBLs that came out of the factory, blue. So what I decided to do with these L100s is I want to see what they look like with a blue face. If I don't like it, I can easily change it back to black, but that's what today's video is. I am going to change the L100 from black to blue. Let's see how it looks. So I need to carefully tape this off because I can't sand any excess that I may get if I get any overspray over the edge. So I'm going to have to tape this very carefully. Now this tape is frog tape, and it does not allow paint to get back past the line or past the edge of it. It's got edge guard lock on it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and do this the best I can and get it almost up to the black. And I got to make sure that there is no black sticking out. Before I apply the new paint color, since these cabinets were already prime painted and clear coated, all I need to do is sand it down, and I'm using 400 grit sandpaper just so the new paint has something to bite onto. I went to Sherwin-Williams and I had them mix up the JBL Blue, and here's a freeze frame so you could jot down the formula and go to your Sherwin-Williams. And I had it done in the emerald trim paint in satin. So you can't get the emerald in matte, and if you want a matte finish, then you could just spray a clear coat matte over it, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Just looking at it when I opened it up, I knew it was 100% perfect. And this paint is pretty thick, so I thin it down just a tiny bit, and I add purified water to the mix, and it sprays out perfect. If you just want a consistency that's just a tad bit watery. As I begin to spray, it looks like nothing's happening. It looks like I'm spraying a clear on this, but there's paint coming out. It's going onto a black surface, and it kind of looks black. So the first coat or two, you're barely going to be able to see anything happening. I had to put 4 coats on this just to get the color to come out. This is the crossover where I put the Mundorf capacitors on and the Fostex manufactured L pads, and it makes a huge difference in sound. It's imaging, soundstage. They're in spec. They don't take away from the JBL sound at all. So what I do before I put the crossovers in is I need to line up the L pads and make sure that they correspond with the label and the markings on the label to measure the levels. And before you put the original L pad knobs on, you might want to stick a screwdriver in the slot and widen it a little bit so they go on tight. Most of the time you'll put them on and they'll just spin around. So just make sure you're aware of that. So it's a good practice to put the label on. You're not sticking it on. You're just putting it on so you can get a idea where that knob is going to line up to the levels on the label. So you notice I only have 3 screws out. I'm not going to put 4 in. There's one that there's one screw that's under the label, and once you stick that label on, you have to heat gun it off in order to get the crossover out. So I'm just going to put 3 screws in. It's going to hold that crossover board just fine. And anybody in the future who needs to get that crossover out, or if it fails for some reason, you won't have to take the label off. Now it's time to put the drivers back in, and as I put the wiring through, I'll show each driver, each speaker, and what the readings were. I like anybody who's ready to buy these speakers, because they are for sale, by the way. I want them to know that I thoroughly checked each driver and that they're getting a quality product. The screws in the mid-range are number 6, 3/4 inch long oval. And if you ever lose them or you buy a set and you don't have the right ones in, that's what you get. That's a picture from the hardware store. And same thing goes for the tweeters. Those are number 6, and they're 3/4 inch, and they're oval, oval black in this case. And I did have to replace the tweeter screws because the ones that were in this set of cabinets look like flat wood screws. They were black, but they didn't look right. So you just want to make sure that if you have to replace them, they're number 6 in size, they're 3/4 of an inch long, and they're oval. They're not flat, they're not panhead, they're oval. Okay, so all the drivers are in, so the last thing to do is put the label on. And I use a speed square to line it up before I peel the double-sided tape off the back. I just make sure it's ready to go. Even it up, make sure it's square with that edge. And then I turn it around, peel it off, and stick it on. Well, there you have it, the JBL L100 Blue. I hope you liked the video. And this pair of blue JBL L100s are for sale. So if you're interested, contact me via email. Also behind me I have the L100 inline. They've been completely restored, new crossovers, the orange grills, and they're done in teak veneer, which is a little, it looks almost the same as the walnut. The color's kind of the same, but it just looks a little richer. It's just a better veneer. So if anybody's interested, contact me at vintagejbl75@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and look for the next one coming up.